Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission to order at 4:59 p.m. We're a minute early, but that's fine. No, we're gonna wait. Okay. I'm always overzealous. All right, let's try this again. Good afternoon. As chair of the commission, I call this meeting of the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission to order at 5:00 p.m. This Zoom meeting is being live streamed on YouTube. For anyone in the public watching who would prefer to watch via a different platform than they are currently using, please visit our social media at Redistricting Michigan to find the link for viewing on YouTube. Our live stream today includes closed captioning. Closed captioning, ASL interpretation, Spanish and Arabic translation services will be provided for effective participation in this meeting. Please email us at redistricting@michigan.gov for additional viewing options or details on accessing language translation services for this meeting. People with disabilities needing other specific accommodations, should also contact redistricting@michigan.gov. This meeting is being recorded and will be available at www.michigan.gov/MICRC for viewing at a later date. This meeting is also being transcribed, and those transcriptions will be made available and posted on michigan.gov/MICRC, along with written public comment submissions. There is also a public comment portal that may be accessed by visiting michigan.gov/MICRC. This portal can be utilized to post maps and comments, which can be viewed by the public. Members of the media who have questions before, during, or after the meeting should direct those questions to Edward Woods III, our Communications and Outreach Director for the Commission, at woodse3@michigan.gov. We'll now have roll call for the purposes of the public watching and public record, and I'll turn to the Department of State staff to take note of the commissioners present.
Good evening, commissioners. Please say present when I call your name. If you are attending the meeting remotely, please announce during roll call you are attending the meeting remotely. And unless your absence is due to military duty, announce your physical location by stating the county, city, township, or village, and the state from which you are attending the meeting remotely. Douglas Clark.
Present, and I'm attending the meeting remotely from Rochester Hills, Michigan.
Hold on, Doug. We're having audio issues. Give us just a moment. Can you repeat that, Doug?
Present, I am attending the meeting remotely from Rochester Hills, Michigan.
Thank you, Doug. Juanita Curry. Anthony Eade.
Present.
Brittany Kellum.
Present, excuse me.
Rhonda Lang.
Present, attending remotely from Reed City, Michigan.
Steve Lett.
Present.
Cynthia Orton.
Present.
MC Rothhorn.
Present.
Rebecca Satella.
Present, attending remotely from Wayne County, Michigan.
Janice Villette.
Present.
Aaron Wagner.
Present, attending remotely from Charlotte, Michigan.
Richard Weiss.
Present.
Dustin Witches.
Present.
12 out of 13 commissioners are present, and there is a quorum.
Thank you so much, Sarah. As a reminder to the public watching, you can view the agenda at redistrictingmichigan.org. We'll now have the adoption of the agenda, assuming all commissioners have taken a moment to review it. And if there are no additions or changes, I would now entertain a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
So moved.
Can I make a point of inquiry?
Go ahead, Commissioner Lang. Yes.
Thank you. I just have a question on item 7 under new business, section A, number 1. It says request identification of city and state on the portal. I know I had requested that this be added to the agenda, but I had requested that we add entire addresses. So I just didn't know if that was a typo or not.
I'm not sure. I can have Sue answer that or Julianne.
So I believe where we are is that the motion was being moved. Commissioner Lang, you would need to amend. We'll do a motion to amend that portion of the agenda to reflect that addition. So if we can finish taking the main motion, which I believe you had the first, Madam Chair, with Commissioner Witches.
Yeah, I couldn't discern who who was which. Commissioner Widges with the motion, and do I have a second?
Second.
And Commissioner Lang,
I motion that we change the agenda, that particular one to state request full addresses be included on the portal.
Second.
Okay, there has been a motion posed. It's been motion and second that we change under new business, under public comment portal, instead of it saying request identification of city and state on the portal, the amendment has been seconded for it to say request of full addresses on the portal. So the vote will be to amend the agenda to express the amended motion from Commissioner Lang. Are we clear on that? Okay. All those in favor of this change in the agenda signify with aye.
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 I'm sorry, my mic keeps turning off. I don't know what's going on. I said the ayes have it.
and Madam Chair,
Yes,
you may return to the vote on the main motion, which is to adopt the agenda as amended.
okay, sorry, I got, I got lost. The main motion to adopt the agenda. Can we all signify with an aye if we're voting to approve the agenda? As amended.
Aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. And the agenda is adopted as amended.
I have a point of personal privilege. We can only have, I think, 4 mics on at any particular point in time, which is why they keep getting cut off. I've noticed that, so I don't know if we want to just do aye verbally or with a raised hand, or if you want to do roll call for things just to make it easier.
I'm fine with the raised hand. I don't know, especially since we have virtual folks. If that pleases everyone. Okay,
Madam Chair, that would be appropriate just as long as they leave their hand up for either the aye vote or the nay vote.
thank you. So we'll switch to a raised hand if you are voting on anything that needs to be approved. Okay, and now moving on to the review and approval of minutes. Are there any objections or changes that need to be made to the minutes from May 6, 2021? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the May 6, 2021 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Steve Lett and second by Commissioner Widges. All those in favor signify with a raised hand. And all those opposed, same sign. And the meetings from May 6, 2021 are approved. We'll now review and approve the meeting minutes from May 11th, 2021, the public hearing. And I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the May 11th, 2021 public hearing, which are also posted on the redistrictingmission.org site. All those in favor, or I'm sorry.
So moved.
Second.
You all are gonna kill me about this mic, so I apologize. Let me just try to figure out why I keep shutting out. All those in favor of approving the minutes from May 11th, 2021, please signify with a raised hand. And all those opposed, same sign. And the minutes from May 11th, 2021 are approved. We'll now move to public comments, correspondence, and remarks. Without objection, we will now begin the public comment pertaining to agenda topics portion of our meeting. Hearing no objection, we will now proceed with public comment pertaining to agenda comments. Individuals who have signed up and indicated that they would like to provide in-person public commentary to the commission will now be allowed to do so. Please step to the nearest microphone, which in this case will be straight ahead. When I call your name, you will have 2 minutes to address the commission. Please conclude your remarks when you hear the timer. We really don't try to cut anyone off, but just in respect and honoring time and everyone's presence, if your comment is going over the 2-minute mark, you will hear a timer. You can finish, as I've indicated, your thought or statement, but please do not continue on past the 2 minutes. If you feel that you've been cut off or you have more to say, please go to the public comment tool and share your comments in writing, including any specific area of the map about which you are speaking. The public comment tool is at michigan.gov/MICRC. First in line to provide public comment is Mr. James Gallant.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I apologize for the interruption. I just wanted to draw everyone's attention to the timer on the screen. Thank you.
Thank you. So for transparency purposes, you can see the timer. This is the timer that will be going by, and I'll go back to introducing Mr. James Gallant. You are now able to address the commission. Thank you so much for coming out this evening.
Okay, my name is James Gallant. I represent the Marquette County Suicide Prevention Coalition, and my community of interest is the entire state of Michigan. And I'm here to address the rules of procedure, the bylaws, and the processes in which these proceedings, and in my personal opinion, that the rules of procedure of this commission have been gerrymandered. I believe that the Michigan Department of State, Michigan State University, University of Michigan, and the Princeton Gerrymandering Project have gerrymandered the rules of procedure of this commission. They submitted a recommendation for you for Robert's Rules of Order. What they submitted to you, a Robert's Rules of Order cheat sheet for nonprofits. This is not a nonprofit corporation. That's completely inappropriate. They give that to you to study, and that's all in your heads right now. But they didn't give you a copy of the rule book. That's all opinion. State employees are required to not give their personal opinions and represent that as the opinion of the state of Michigan. The passages in this book is the representation of the opinions of the state of Michigan. You can't just make it up now. Okay. I believe that this commission should address the bylaws. And at the first meeting on the agenda, they said it's not in writing, but on the agenda, there was 2 public comments. The Secretary of State determined that there would be the precedence of the rules of procedure that you have now. You should have codified the precedence and then amended them to bring you to where you're at now. But the most recent past chair, Mr. Lett, had the Secretary of State determined that there was going to be 90 seconds and there was going to be 2 public comments at every meeting. And then at the next meeting, The chair completely disregarded the precedents of the rules of procedure and then just went on and wrote his own. Or it's the executive director, because the executive director created the agenda, except for back then it was Miss Marsh, and Mr. Brady. Well, guess what? They're the ones responsible for this. And I believe that these rules have been gerrymandered. And now, when you approved those minutes just a minute ago, you did the discussion first. You did the discussion first, and then you did it. And then you voted, and then you motioned, and then you voted. You just broke the rules again, and there is no double comments, and this is violation of my legal rights under the Constitution, due process, and equal protection to 2 public comments at every meeting, and you just took that away from me and everybody else in the state. And it appears that your civil counsels is just willing to go to court and not talk about it, and you can expect a petition to be filed Monday, including an injunction against all future meetings, because you just have systemic defects in the bylaws and rules of procedure here. And
Thank you so much for
you have
addressing the
autonomy and
commission.
you don't have to address it, but that just means then you can be held legally responsible for the gerrymandering that you have done here in the rules. You gerrymandered the rules, and it's for your own advantage, and it's completely inappropriate, and 2 minutes is completely inappropriate.
Thank
It
you.
should be 3.
Thank you for
It should
addressing
be-
the commission.
It should be 3.
And by my count, we don't have any virtual commentary this evening. So that would conclude our public comment portion of the agenda. Moving on now to unfinished business, we have 2 items to discuss. There is first an update on election data services contract. Without objection, our ED or General Counsel Julianne Pastrula will now provide an update on the election data services contract. Hearing no objection, please proceed to the election data services contract discussion. So I don't know if Julianne, are you, yep, or.
Thank you, Madam
Okay,
Chair.
sorry.
No, thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity. So I would like to let the commissioners and the public know that the election data services contract, the notice to award has been posted, and the unsuccessful bidders have been notified of that posting. The notice to award timeframe will expire on Sunday. So as of Monday, that contract would be in force, save any protest.
Thank you, Julianne. And the update on Federal Compliance Consulting, the LLC contract.
If there are no objections, I will take that one. That contract is now in effect, so we finalized it. It's been signed fully by both parties, and we've had an initial meeting to begin discussing process and how Federal Compliance Consulting will assist the commission.
Thank you, Sue. And is there any further discussion for that contract from anyone? Okay, moving on to new business agenda item regarding the public comment portal.
Excuse me, Brittany. I had a comment. I had hand up on the video screen, I guess.
I'm so sorry, Doug. I was looking at my
Yeah.
notes. I apologize, Commissioner Clark.
It's hard to see in that venue. Yeah, I want to go back to the comment you made, Sue, about having initial meetings with federal compliance consulting. How are we going to get the commission involved in those discussions?
Through the chair to Commissioner Clark, what the initial discussions were to set up the time that Mr. Adelson will be presenting to the full commission. That was what we were discussing.
Okay. So you're not really discussing any process. You're discussing agenda items to have him address us.
Correct. And through the chair again to Commissioner Clark, that any discussions on process, any of those would be held with the full commission, and the full commission would be deciding any process issues.
Doug, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it answers my question. It brings forth some more, but that's going to get into in-depth discussion, which I don't think is really part of this agenda. So maybe we can put it on the next agenda item to discuss that next week.
Okay.
Because we'll have the same issue with EDS once they become our official vendor as well. So, okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome, Commissioner Clark. All right, we're moving on to new business agenda item regarding the public comment portal. Without objection, our general counsel will now provide an update on whether the commission can require, with the new change, we're no longer just discussing the city and state on the portal, we're now discussing full addresses. So I don't hear any objections from anyone. Please proceed, General Counsel.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. So this topic was raised at an earlier meeting, and it was requested to be placed back on the agenda. So I would like to go back through the support and the discussion item that we previously covered. So the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution protects 5 freedoms: speech, religion, press, assembly, and to petition the government. Collectively, it protects us from the government limitations on our freedom of expression, which is broader than just freedom of speech. So it prevents the government from either making you say something you don't want to say or prevent you from reading or hearing the words of others that the government may or may not agree with. So returning to the issue at hand after just that brief background. So the First Amendment in this context, as far as providing full address now with city and state, on our public comment, to be able to provide public comment. The First Amendment provides protection to and the opportunity for free speech in public forums. So under the law, the MICRC meeting that you're attending currently is a limited public forum. Therefore, the commission can regulate the time, place, and manner of speech, but not the content. So the MICRC has accomplished this through its rules of procedure by setting the time limit to 2 minutes, by providing reasonable sign-up mechanisms, particularly for our remote participants. And the commission is therefore unable to restrict the speech of the public as far as who can participate, because that would likely be ruled as censorship and unconstitutional by a court of law. Again, this is referring to the physical address to be able to provide public comment. In addition to the First Amendment concerns that I just addressed, there also are privacy concerns with this requirement, proposed requirement. The public comment portal that we're inviting all of the members of the public to participate through, in addition to live public comment or virtual public comment or remote public comment, those are all part of the public record. So requesting city and state would not run afoul of the privacy considerations of publishing that information for private citizens, but however, a physical address would. For the privacy, there's a 2-pronged test for privacy considerations. It would be as if information of a personal nature and 2, public disclosure would constitute a clearly unwarranted invasion of that individual's privacy. The court has held, or Michigan courts have held, that home addresses, date of birth, phone numbers are exempt under those privacy exemptions. So they held that a personal address, a date of birth, and a phone number, again, are information of a personal nature. They reveal little to nothing about a government agency's conduct, and it does not further the stated public policy of having the citizens be able to be engaged in government, in a government setting. So for those reasons, Madam Chair, I would just like to provide that information to the commission for their consideration during their deliberation on this important topic. And I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Julianne. I open up the floor to the discussion about requesting full addresses. Thank you, Richard. Yep.
Madam Chair, I've been requested if there needs to be a motion on this agenda. The floor was opened for the discussion, and the motion could be to either accept, to forward the proposal or to make a motion for a different action. There is no there is no active action motion on the table right now, just the discussion.
And Rhonda also has a question.
Part of the
Commissioner.
discussion. Yes.
Go ahead.
So my question is, and maybe this would be better addressed to the Department of State since they communicate with the people that developed our portal and they contracted them. Is it possible, like on other websites, to include name and address without it being printed or available for sight on the website, where you go in and you put it in, but yet it does not show up in the comments nor on the maps? Is that a possibility? And I ask this because we've had a lot of public comment about it. People that have shared their public comment have included their addresses, most of them. We've had in-person public comment about it. And when we look at other things, you contact the governor of the state, you have to have name, email, phone number, address, all of that. When you fill out a petition, you have to have county or township which you live and your complete address. So I'm wondering, based off from the survey that we had, where the people that have heard about this commission, there's a lot that don't have, oh, wonderful Moon's here, thank you. So I will address it to Moon then. Let me cut it short and I'll just address that question to Moon because she would be the person that could answer that for me, if that's okay, Madam Chair.
Sure. I think that's why our lovely Moon popped on. So go ahead. That's totally fine.
Great. I can definitely answer that from a technical point of view. There's no problem at all collecting information that you don't display. In particular, we collect email addresses and we validate email addresses, but we don't display those publicly. So there's no technical obstruction to asking for information. And then you could also decide whether to make it mandatory or optional. Either way, it can be maintained in the database, but it doesn't have to be made public.
So theoretically, then we could require a street address, and it doesn't matter. Somebody out of state could still comment, put in their address, their state and everything, and it could just be displayed, say, in their comment as city and state, but yet we would still have a full address. And that's completely possible.
Completely possible, technically. Just small observation, you might have people who are unsure what address to use for themselves. So you'd probably want to give a little bit of clarity to whether you're looking for a mailing address or, what kind of address you seek. But for sure, we can collect information that we store but don't display.
Thank you for that.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
And I just wanted to add, since Dr. Dushan clarified the technical aspect of it, I'd like to clarify the legal aspect of it again for the public. So this would be information that the commission would collect and not disclose to the public. So just for that clarity, I think Commissioner Lang, her example about the petition, that information of assigning your home address and city, township, or village is required under Michigan election law. So that would just be the distinction, again, that if the commission collected the information, it would not be disclosed, as it isn't currently when people were submitting prior to the public comment portal. If they provided any of that personal information, it was redacted before it was posted on the commission's website. So just for clarity, I thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, General Counsel. Any further discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
Rhonda, what are we going to gain by having the full address that we don't already have by having the city and the state? What purpose do we need with the full address?
Commissioner Lett, I feel based off from public comment that if we required a physical address be put in, even though we are not displaying it to the public, it may gain some public confidence in this process. We've had multiple emails. We've had comments on our online tool and in person where they're concerned about potentially people from out of state, which this would not stop people from out of state. They could still put in their city, state an address from out of state, and their comments could still be there, but I think it may give a little bit to the public to show them that we're trying to work for them and give them confidence in this process.
I guess I understand that, but if we're not going to show the addresses to the public, then they're going to have to take our word that we're really doing that. And if we're doing it by showing the city and the state, I think we're accomplishing that. So I understand your concern. I just think my opinion anyway, and my feeling is it's probably not well placed.
I got something to.
Thank you, Commissioner Collette, and go ahead, Commissioner Witches.
I was gonna say, if even if someone from out of state were to put in the information for a city or a state and maybe even the zip code, and it's not true, then what difference does it really make? Like, I mean, if it's something that we require, but they could still lie on it, it really doesn't make sense to have something else that someone has to fill out, because it would be mute in my point anyway.
Thank you, MC.
What I'm hearing from Rhonda, which makes sense to me, is that we want to be responsive, and I think we want to try to instill trust. And so what I'm weighing is what I'm also hearing from Steve and Dustin, right? It may not actually make a difference. And if it helps the public trust us more, then I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's worth it. And here's my question. How much work do we create, Moon, to sort of like, yeah, have this extra one, because then it has to be redacted. So there's this part of me that knows that if it's important and it does gain us trust, that's great. But if it comes at a cost of like 3 extra hours for the Department of State to actually redact every, line, right? That's a heavy cost. And so I'm wondering if this is a simple technological kind of work that's, right, it can be blacked out sort of simply, even though we're requesting it and even requiring it. Is that and maybe even, I hope that question is clear.
I think I understand what you're saying, MC. What I'm hearing you say is the cost of man hours, right? If it's one thing, if we can get confidence and privacy, sure. But
Even woman hours.
yeah, woman hours, yeah, human hours. The sweat equity it takes on the tech end to have that addition. Yeah, I understand that question.
Briefly,
Madam
answer
Chair.
that it's no additional lift on the tech side. You shouldn't think of that as an obstruction. And I'll add another thing you could choose to do is to just have a checkbox for attestation that the person lives in Michigan. Of course, someone can always be dishonest, and if you have hackers, it won't stop hackers and trolls. But just to have a voluntary attestation of being from Michigan is another thing that would be extremely easy to implement, and that might meet some of the needs that you've described.
Thank you, Moon. I'm gonna jump to Rebecca and then Anthony and then Doug. I'm trying to get virtual and in person.
Yeah, I'm just wondering to what extent we haven't, are we planning on filtering for people who report out of state addresses? And my thought process in this, and I know Commissioner Lett is in this very situation, is I know a lot of people who are what we call snowbirds, who may have property in Florida or may have property in Arizona, but they also have property here. And so they're here maybe 4, 5, 6 months out of the year, and they're in another state for part of the year as well. And so I just want to make sure we're not excluding people who have a legitimate interest in making comments because they might put down their Florida address or put down their Arizona address just because that's just natural to them to some extent. I just want to make sure we're not filtering people out for that reason. And then, my other concern is a chilling effect on people making comments. It does concern me even to have city and state. Honestly, if you have a unique name, like my name's unique, if you were to look up my name and in the city I live in, you could find my address very easily. And, I just worry that the environment that we're in, that there could be some people that don't feel comfortable making comments because they're worried some person's going to start doxing them on the internet and, slandering them because they've made a comment they don't like. And that concerns me that we might be chilling some of the comments that we want to get by requiring this, even with just, like I said, just the name and address. And as a result of that, I just think we're going to end up having useless data because people are going to put false information in. So then what's the point of it anyway? It just seems like we're not going to verify the data, then what's the point of collecting it, especially because it's personal data. Just from a data privacy lawyer perspective, I just am reluctant to collect data when there's no actual use or purpose for it. And it just seems like this is window dressing, in my opinion.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm going to go to Anthony and then back to Doug.
Thank you. I got two comments. The first one is that I guess I'm a little confused about what we're discussing. Did Commissioner Lang make a motion to change the public comment tool?
Madam Chair.
No, go ahead, Julianne.
I apologize.
No, you're fine.
No, through the chair to Commissioner Eid, there is the motion that was made earlier was to amend the agenda item to add street address to the public comment portal. There has been no motion made on any action to do that. There's no pending motion on the table for that action.
Commissioner Lang, would you like to make a motion to do that?
I see Doug has his hand up. I don't know if we need to continue the discussion before that's made. I don't want to jump in front of anybody.
Well, right, but what I'm saying is we can have discussion after the motion is made, correct?
Then I move that we put complete addresses on the portal tool.
Second.
Okay, so moved by Rhonda, second by Aaron Wagner. And we're voting on if, thank you, Steve, sorry. Because I'm like, we were already discussing. So now we'll have discussion about including full addresses on the public comment portal tool.
Madam Chair, can I make my comments on discussion now?
Yes.
Wonderful, thank you. Sorry about that. I was just a little
No, I
got a little lost in my
understand.
notes here. So it seems like we have two different things to consider here. We've heard from Dr. Moon that this is technically possible to do what is contained in Commissioner Lang's motion. But we also have the other side on what is legally responsible for the commission to do. And we've heard from our general counsel that if we do require an address to be placed, it might, excuse me, we might be opening the commission up to different legal ramifications, which is something I worry about. If you recall, I did have the same question that I put out to the rest of the commission at our meeting on May 6th about requiring the public to add a city and state. And I might still be in support of that, but I do think having a full street address might be going a little too far. And I don't see really what that would add. In my opinion, I think city and state would be sufficient. And that might open us up to less different legal ramifications as well, even though it would be technically possible.
Thank you, Commissioner Eid. Doug, I'm going to go to you. I do have a comment and question, but I also want to yield to my fellow commissioners.
Okay, I'd like to amend the motion that Rhonda put forward and indicate that we will collect the address, city and state, but the address will not be displayed.
I'll second that.
That's all I had.
Okay, would you all like to have further discussion? Oh, are there any other thoughts besides my own on that amendment?
I do have a question for
Okay.
our general counsel. If that's okay.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Thank you. My question is, let's say this information were to become subpoenaed at any point during the redistricting process. Would that bring the potential for physical addresses associated with names of public comment submissions to be placed in public in the courts?
It could, depending on the entity submitting the subpoena and what they were seeking. And again, distinguishing a subpoena from a FOIA request. And I think too, Madam Chair, if I may, the clarity would be on whether the requirement would be optional or required. I mean, I think we need, and some of the other technical considerations for Dr. Dushan that might also assist the commission in their deliberation. If that was responsive to your question.
Yes, thank you. Would that, the same question in regards to a FOIA request, would a FOIA request present the same type of privacy difficulties that a subpoena from a lawsuit would?
Through the chair to Commissioner Eid, it depends on, again, for the reports that are run, or the concern is what would the public see and what would the commission be able to see as distinguished? My understanding right now is that there's one public comment portal. There's one view that the commissioners log in exactly as the public does by clicking the link on the MICRC, www.michigan.gov/MICRC website where our public comment portal is. And so to me, the technical understanding of how that would need to shift to accommodate the request, and that how we could safeguard so that citizens' personal information is not disclosed. In the future, it may be, depending on the reports that are run by the commission, I think that might be the commission's next agenda item. How, again, would it be safeguarded that that information would not be disclosed? If it could be done via the computer filter, or if that would, again, in some instances, might need to be done by physical redactions by staff, which I'd also like to highlight would not be done by Dr. Dushan, that would be done internally by staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Julianne. Dr. Dushan, are you able to answer some of the things that we're discussing regarding privacy data? And I think Anthony also brought up a FOIA question. And then additionally, would the MICRC have access to the addresses? That's something that I added as a question.
Sure. So we have the option easily on the portal to make certain fields that the submitter fills in. They can be required, or they can be optional, or they can be absent, right? So those things are, it's easy to change the status of a certain box to fill in from required to optional, or to suppress it entirely. Everything that is entered goes into a database to which the commission has access in its entirety. So everything that people put in becomes accessible to you and is subject to whatever public records laws that your legal counsel can inform you about much more capably than I can. In addition, at the moment, in order to submit, you need to check a few boxes. One says that you understand that your email address is being stored but not displayed. And it would be perfectly easy to do the same thing with a physical address. So just inform the user when they submit that that physical address is also being stored to be accessible to the commission, but not displayed to the public. So any of these options is equally easy. But one thing I do want to emphasize is that every piece of information submitted by a member of the public is turned over to you, the commission, to do with what you will. But it's quite easy for you to instruct us which pieces of information you want publicly displayed and which you do not. There's no additional technical difficulty on our side.
Thank you, Dr. Dushan. Any further discussion or thoughts regarding full addresses on the portal?
Yes.
Go ahead, MC.
It occurs to me because we haven't decided that we do want, as a commission, right? If we make this a requirement. We haven't decided that, okay, are we going to throw out comments that don't have it? And I think that's what I mean. What I think we're setting ourselves up for is this, I think what Rebecca may be reporting, this idea of a chilling effect, that we may actually, I appreciate that there are people who really want to have Michigan residents and their comments prioritized, maybe even like only what we consider. And it feels to me like we as the commissioners, I feel like we have the ability to understand that. We can understand, like, I think we're going to get that. I don't know that the address for me, when I'm looking at these comments, I don't know that that's going to be what's going to help me decide. And I feel like, again, as a body, we have to make sure that we're collecting data that we're actually going to use in a way that will use significantly. It may inform. Will it be actually the reason that we throw out a comment, for example? And that's what I think we're trying to, for me, that's what I'm trying to ask myself is yes, I want to engage and I want to do something that increases the public's trust of us. It comes at a cost potentially of chilling public comment, people who may be, not willing to put themselves out there and therefore not make a comment. So there's a balance there. And I'm not sure, I'm honestly on the fence. I don't know what the right decision is. And again, because we haven't decided as a commission right now, it's not important. So I'm tempted to say, no, I don't want to create something that we collect and potentially not use.
Thank you, MC. I think you expressed something that I've been quietly thinking about. Just with my experience of privacy data and how sticky that could be. And then anytime you're collecting information, especially our responsibility to be transparent and we do have public record, then we're creating a situation essentially where there's a database. And that makes me a little nervous. I think our job personally is tough enough than to worry about the responsibility of collecting addresses. And I think just on a personal level, and I'm not the staple for every human being, but anything online particularly that then requests my personal address, I am less reluctant to respond to. I don't really think also that it does anything to bolster if folks are going to trust us. I think folks are going to trust us by experiencing us and seeing us like the folks are here doing and continuing to engage, not necessarily if they're able to write where they live. But that's my opinion. I would also yield to the group for any further discussion.
I have one last quick comment, but she can go first.
Okay, Rhonda, go ahead. We love to hear from you. And then I'll hear from Anthony.
No, let Anthony go because I was going to say, ask the question.
Okay.
I just have a little concern about, people that might want to submit a map to us that don't have a physical address, even though they may reside in Michigan. We do have quite a large population of those that are homeless, especially in the Detroit metro area, and requiring a physical address might disincentivize them from commenting.
Thank you, Anthony. Any other thoughts? Or are we, Richard, go ahead.
We've had this discussion quite a while, and I believe all of it's important. But one of the questions I've had from the beginning is we want individuals only from Michigan to submit their comments, which I think is good. I've read quite a few on the portal already and looked at the maps and all the emails we received about only Michigan residents commenting on our map drawing. Since I have a little bit of age, I've learned that always listen to everything. You might find something that may work best. Now, if it happens to come from another individual in another state, what would be wrong with that? It might be a very good suggestion. I don't know. And I guess what I'd like to know is what other people would think about that. Just because they're out of state, what agenda could they possibly have? I guess I need some proof. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Weiss. Any other thoughts or questions?
I had one comment.
Oh, Rebecca, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I would just kind of echo what Richard just said too, because a lot of the comments I've been seeing are about foreign influence. And I honestly think that it would be difficult for someone who's in a foreign country to come up with any sort of authentic commentary that wouldn't be immediately obvious that they don't live here with respect to where lines are drawn. I mean, the comments that we've been receiving at public meetings to date are very specific about areas, and they show the deep knowledge that people have. I mean, when we were in Marquette, people were talking about mining. When we were in Kalamazoo and Jackson area, people were talking about the watershed. And I just think that this whole concept that people from foreign areas are going to be making commentary that's not going to be relevant, I think it's going to be so immediately obvious that they don't know what they're talking about, that I think we're going to be able to identify it anyway, even without a fake "I live in Ann Arbor, Michigan" city on it. So that's just furthering Richard's comments. And I agree with him. If someone from out of state has a great idea, why not use it? I mean, just because they're from out of state, I wouldn't find that disqualifying. I'm more concerned about good ideas and not limiting them.
Thank you, Rebecca. Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you, Rebecca. I guess what I'm getting at too, if we do this, allow anybody to comment, we eliminate all the addresses and all the other stuff that we're having an issue with. And as you talked about having a database, we could eliminate all that. Just let them post. As Rebecca said, I think we ought to be able to figure out who's got our best interest.
Do we have do we want to amend?
Madam
Go
Chair,
ahead.
you already have a secondary motion on the table, a
Ah.
motion to amend. So the pending motion to amend on the table that was made by Commissioner Clark and seconded by Commissioner Lang is that the address not be displayed. So the main motion was to request complete address on portal. The motion to amend that's currently pending is that that motion be amended so that the address is not displayed. That is the amendment on the table.
Okay, say the last part again. The motion that's on the table is so that the address is not displayed.
Correct. The motion
Okay.
to amend that was made was so that the address would not be displayed on the portal.
But we would still be asking.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, that's where I was getting confused. Sorry. Okay. Are we ready to vote on the motion that is on the table? Okay. All those in favor?
I'm going to request a roll call vote.
Okay, thank you. For roll call vote, we're voting on if the full address is going to be displayed for the public comment portal. Wanted to make sure I got that correct. And I'll have, do we want Department of State? Sarah, can you do a roll call so that we can vote on the current motion on the floor? Thank you.
Absolutely, Madam Chair.
Just as a matter of clarification, Madam Chair, the motion is that if we approve the main motion, which is to have the addresses, the amendment says they will not be displayed to the public. They will be private.
Go ahead, Julian.
Yes, so to
Yeah.
work it, Steve's going for it and we're working backwards. So for the benefit of the public and the commission, the current pending motion is to amend the main motion. The main motion is request complete address on the portal. What we're voting, what the commission is voting on now is whether to amend the main motion so that the address will not be displayed. This is not the vote on the main motion to request the complete address on the portal. Did that add clarity?
Yeah, like we've said it several different ways. Do we understand? Okay, Sarah, I think we're ready for you now.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioners, please indicate your vote with a yes or a no. I will call commissioners' names in alphabetical order, starting with Commissioner Zatella.
Yes.
Commissioner Villette.
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner.
Yeah.
Commissioner Weiss.
Yes.
Commissioner Witchess.
Yes.
Commissioner Clark.
Yes.
Commissioner Eid.
Yay.
Commissioner Kellum,
Yes.
Commissioner Lang,
Yes.
Commissioner Lett,
No.
Commissioner Orton,
Yes.
Commissioner Rothorn.
Yes.
By a vote of 11-1, the motion carries.
Thank you, Sarah. Now we're voting on the original amendment, which is to require the inclusion of full address for the public comment portal tool. Are we ready to vote?
And I'll request a roll call on that too.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
The motion that I have noted for the main motion is to request complete address on the portal. I don't believe the word required was used. We might want to seek clarification from the secretary.
Thank you for that clarification. Because I know we had talked about required, request, optional, and I don't remember which word. Is there a note from the secretary about request versus required, the wording?
My understanding was the motion was to request the address, not require. Whereas,
Okay.
apologies, the word required was not used.
So if, Madam Chair, so if a commissioner would like to move a motion to amend the main motion to require the address be requested, but not again, it would not be displayed. That has already passed. So instead of request, the motion to amend would be, if desired, would be to replace request with require. But as it stands, your main motion right now before the body is a motion to request complete address be requested, but not displayed on the portal.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Rhonda, you have a hand raised.
Yes, my apologies that I did not speak properly. It was require is what I meant. So I guess I'm amending it to require an address.
Okay. So then we need to have a motion, a second, yeah. Can we have a motion? I'm sorry. a
Yeah, I'll second her amendment. to
Okay, it's
her
been
own
seconded
motion.
by Commissioner Anthony E. Thank you, Anthony. So for clarification, we are now voting as if, or for the full address to be required for the public comment portal tool. Voting on the amendment, excuse me, for the wording to be, it's required for the full address to be on the for the public comment portal tool. Phew. Okay, Sarah, can you please help with a roll call vote?
Absolutely, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Commissioners, please indicate your vote with a yes or a no. I will call commissioners' names in alphabetical order, starting this time with Commissioner Vallette.
Janice, I think. Janice.
No.
Aaron Wagner,
Yes.
Richard Weiss,
No.
Dustin Witches,
No.
Douglas Clark,
Yes.
Anthony Ede,
Yes.
Brittany Kellum,
No.
Rhonda Lang,
Yes.
Steve Lett,
No.
Cynthia Orton,
Yes.
MC Rothorn,
No.
Rebecca Zatella,
No.
one moment, please. By a count of 5 yeas and 7 nays, the motion does not carry.
Thank you, Sarah. So now it seems that we have to go back to the original main motion of a request of identification via city and state on the portal.
Madam Chair,
With
your
full
main
address?
motion is to request the complete address on the portal,
With a full address.
but the address will not be displayed.
Okay.
That's the
So,
motion on the table currently.
pardon me, main motion is that the full address be included on the portal, but it's not going to be displayed.
So the wording is a motion, the motion on the table is a motion to request
Motion to request
the complete address
the complete address
on the portal.
on the portal,
but
but
the-
not displayed.
Correct.
Ooh, okay, thank you. Do we have a second? Because I'm so lost right now. It's too many things. Thank you. Can we have a vote by roll call? Sarah, please.
Yes, Madam Chair. Commissioners, again, please indicate your vote with a yes or a no. I
Madam,
will,
Hold on. Go ahead.
Commissioner Orton, I apologize for interrupting. Could you turn on your microphone, please?
I'm sorry. So by request, we mean we'll be asking for it, but it's not required that it be filled out. Is
Right.
that what we're saying?
Mhm. Sarah, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Commissioners, please indicate your vote with a yes or no. I will call commissioners' names in alphabetical order, starting with Aaron Wagner,
Yes.
Richard Weiss,
No.
Dustin Witches,
No.
Doug Clark,
Yes.
Anthony Ede,
No.
Brittany Kellum, Rhonda Lang,
Yes.
Steve Lett,
No.
Cynthia Orton,
Yes.
MC Rothhorn,
Yes.
Rebecca Zatella,
No.
Janice Villette.
no.
By a vote of 5 yes and 7 no's, the motion does not carry.
Thank you, Sarah. We'll now move on to the new business.
Madam Chair, I apologize for the
Go ahead.
interruption. If you could call the result of the last vote.
My apologies. So we're not going to have the full address requested on the public comment tool per our last vote.
Correct. So that motion has failed. And I do note that it is 6 o'clock. If you would like to call the public hearing to order and then adjourn it to the call of the chair.
Okay. So at this time, that it's 6:03, I will adjourn. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
We can, if the commission would like to finish the regular meeting, the commission can elect to finish the
Mhm.
meeting and then go into the public hearing. So you would just need to call the public hearing to order and adjourn it to the call of the chair.
Okay. I am going to adjourn the public meeting at 6:03 and then recall the order for our hearing at 6:03. Can I do that? Can I give you're keeping me to task today. I appreciate that.
So what we'll do is we'll call the public hearing to order and then recess it to the call of the chair.
Yeesh. Okay, I call the public meeting to order at 6:03 and recess to the call of the chair.
Correct. And then you can continue on your agenda.
Okay. So we're going to move on now to new business still on the agenda for the meeting for accessing printing maps and comments from the portal. No, wait a minute.
Madam Chair?
Yeah, I totally goofed that. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I'd like to motion to table the rest of new business until our meeting next Thursday.
Second.
Okay, the motion has been moved by Anthony Eden, seconded by Dustin Widges, and we will table the rest of new business for the next meeting.
Let's vote.
Pardon me? Okay, I'm not operating at 100% today. You guys know this. I would like to call for a vote. All those in favor of tabling new business, please indicate with a raised hand. And all those opposed. So we will be tabling the remaining of our new business for the next meeting, which allows us, if there are no other announcements or anything from the good of the order, to adjourn the meeting at 6:05. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Got to vote.
Can we please vote with signifying with a raised hand if we are going to adjourn the meeting?
Madam Chair, can you
Yes.
please announce the motion maker and the second on that?
I'm sorry, the motion was by Anthony, and seconded by Steve.
I will. Second.
That's what I thought. I thought I heard one of you two. Okay, my apologies. So can we have a vote with raised hand if we are voting to, if you would like to adjourn the meeting? All those opposed? By my count, the raised hands have it, and we will adjourn the meeting by majority at 6:06.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
can I ask for a point of privilege that we take a 5 to 10 minute break before we start with the public hearing portion?
Yes, absolutely. So we will take a 10-minute break and we'll start the public hearing portion at 6:17. Thank you, everyone, for being patient with us as we figure that out and being patient with me. I appreciate that. All right, I call the public hearing to order at 6:22. Good evening again for those of you that are just joining us live and in person. This is so exciting. We're super happy to be here at in Gaylord. And we're very appreciative that you all have spent your time to come and listen and participate and comment and give us thoughts. That does not go unnoticed. So as chair of the commission, again, I call this meeting of the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission, the public hearing version, to order at 6:22. This is being live streamed on YouTube at www.youtube.com/MICHSOSO office/videos. For anyone in the public watching who would prefer to watch via a different platform than they currently are using, please visit our social media at Redistricting Michigan to find the link for viewing on YouTube. Our live stream today includes closed captioning as well. Closed captioning, ASL interpretation, Spanish and Arabic translation services will be provided for effective participation in this meeting. Email us at redistricting@michigan.gov for additional viewing options or details on accessing language translation services for this meeting. People with disabilities needing other specific accommodations should also contact redistricting@michigan.gov. This meeting is being recorded and will be available at www.michigan.gov/MICRC for viewing at a later date. This meeting is also being transcribed, and those transcriptions will be made available and posted on michigan.gov/MICRC along with written public comment submissions. There is also a public comment portal that may be accessed by visiting michigan.gov/MICRC. This portal can be utilized to post maps and comments, which can be viewed by the public. Members of the media who may have questions before, during, or after the meeting should direct those questions to Edward Woods III, our Communications and Outreach Director for the Commission. We'll now have roll call, and for the purposes of the public watching and public record, I will turn to Department of State staff, Sarah Reinhardt, to take note of the commissioners present.
Good evening, commissioners. Please say present when I call your name. If you are attending the meeting remotely, please announce during roll call where you are attending the meeting remotely from. Unless your absence is due to military duty, announce your physical location by stating the county, city, township, or village, and the state from which you are attending the meeting remotely. Doug Clark.
Present. I'm attending the meeting remotely from Rochester Hills, Michigan.
Juanita Curry. Anthony Eade.
Present.
Brittany Kellum.
Present.
Rhonda Lang.
Present, attending remotely from Reed City, Michigan.
Steve Lett.
Present.
Cynthia Orton.
Present.
MC Rothhorn.
Present.
Rebecca Zatella.
Present, attending remotely from Wayne County, Michigan.
Janice Villette.
Present.
Aaron Wagner.
Present, attending remotely from Charlotte, Michigan.
Richard Weiss.
Present.
Dustin Witches.
Present.
12 out of 13 commissioners are present, and there is a quorum.
Thank you, Sarah. We'll now have our welcome and introductions. Without objection, Commissioner Steve Lett will provide a presentation. And I don't hear any objections, so let's proceed with Commissioner Lett's welcome and introduction. Steve.
Thank you, Brittany. Thank you. Good afternoon, good evening. Again, my name is Steve Lett, and we welcome you to the MICRC public hearing in Gaylord, Michigan, located at this meeting is at the Treetops Convention Facility. We're happy that you are here. to learn about Michigan's new redistricting process and how you can engage throughout this process to ensure that your voice is heard. In looking at the agenda, please note that the vast majority of our time this evening is spent listening to you. We are eager to hear your ideas, either in person or remotely, about drawing Michigan's congressional, House, and Senate districts. In addition to hearing about district lines, we also want to hear your ideas about communities of interest. In 2018, more than 61% of Michigan voters intentionally and deliberately passed Proposal 2, a ballot initiative for voters, not legislators, to take the responsibility for map fairness and public feedback in the redistricting process, and created the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission, the MICRC. For the first time in Michigan's history, the MICRC will lead the redistricting process to draw fair and independent maps. The commission is comprised of 13 randomly selected Michigan residents that include 4 who affiliate as Democrats, 4 who affiliate as Republicans, and 5 independents. Once the applications were sent in, then a lottery was run by the Michigan Department of State to choose the final 13. The MICRC has the exclusive authority in this new redistricting process for Michigan's congressional, House, and Senate districts. As fellow residents, the MICRC understands your expectations to draw maps in an open, a transparent manner that meets constitutional mandates. Our mission and vision exemplifies our resolve, not just for today, but for future generations as well. In your interaction with the MICRC and its staff, you should witness the core values of integrity, respect, transparency, and being purposeful. Once again, we are glad you are here, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Lett. And now we'll have our Executive Director, Sue Hammersmith, if there is no objection, come to us to give us a little bit of information about our public hearings. And hearing no objection, Sue, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. We really appreciate you coming to give public comment this evening and to learn more about the process. I'm going to share just a brief presentation on the public hearing purpose. Before commissioners draw the first line, they have to hold at least 10 public hearings. Our commissioners are overachievers. They're holding 16 public hearings to gain input from the public before any lines are drawn. There are 3 purposes for the public hearings. They are stated in the Constitution. They are to inform the public about the redistricting process, to learn about the purposes and the responsibilities of the commissioners, and then also to gain the input from the public. And that's the most important rule, is that we're here to gather input. What is redistricting? Every 10 years following the census, the lines are redrawn for the voting districts. This happens because, people move, babies are born, some people pass away, and the populations shift to different areas of our state. The process of drawing the lines is known as redistricting, and the districts will include the 13 Michigan congressional districts. Those are our people that'll go to the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. And then in Michigan, the 38 Michigan Senate and the 10 Michigan House districts. The commission's purpose and responsibilities include exercising the constitutional powers granted solely to this commission to redistrict Michigan, to operate in an impartial and transparent manner, that reinforces public confidence in the integrity of the process, to conduct statewide outreach and invite meaningful public participation in the redistricting process, to adopt the 3 maps, which I've mentioned, one for each type of district, while complying both with the US and the Michigan constitutional mandates, to ensure integrity, public availability, and accountability for the data, for the public comments, and for the commission information, and to assure compliance with the redistricting criteria. There are 7 criteria listed in the Constitution, and these are in rank order, meaning we have to follow number 1 first, on to number 2, etc. So the first criteria is equal population and complying with the Voting Rights Act. Those are federal requirements. Secondly, the districts must be geographically contiguous. That means that they can't be separate areas of the state. They have to be connected. Third, we have to take into account communities of interest. Those are groups that would affiliate with each other, which our Constitution defines as cultural, historical, or economic interests or other interests that are identified by people. The 4th and 5th criteria involve not favoring political organizations or people. So no disproportionate advantage to any political party may be given. And the commission is not allowed to favor or disfavor an incumbent elected official or a candidate. 6th, the district should reflect consideration of city, county, and township boundaries. And 7th, the districts must be reasonably compact. That's a tall order, but I'm telling you that this commission is determined to follow the Constitution and to create the best districts possible. Why are we here tonight? Hear directly from you. We want to hear from the people of this state. We want you to tell us how you would like your congressional districts, your Senate, House, and your Senate representative districts to be. And we want to listen and learn about your community of interest. And lastly, why should you care? This is your opportunity to be involved for the first time ever in Michigan's historic process for the citizens to draw the lines of the districts. This is an open and transparent process. All the lines will be drawn in open meetings of the commission, and every meeting is held that way. So you can either listen live to our meetings or you can go back and listen to the recordings. And third, we're inviting communities of interest to share their input into this process. So thank you for being here. We appreciate everybody who's here this evening, and we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much, Sue. We'll now have our guidelines presented by our general counsel, and that is Julianne Pastula. If there are no objections. Hearing no objection, please proceed, General Counsel Pastula.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. And thank you for the warm welcome, Gaylord. We're very happy to be here with you. I would like to cover the public comment guidelines for this evening's public hearing. They will include both in-person and remote public comments. Remote may be by telephone or virtual. All of the public comments will be up to 2 minutes in length. In-person public comments will take place first, followed by remote public comments. And as always, we encourage all of the public to please log in their public comments in the public comment portal available at www.michigan.gov/MICRC. The 2-minute timer will appear on the screen to my left, your right. And when your 2 minutes have expired, there will be an audible alarm that makes this noise. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Julianne. It's now time for our in-person public comment. Without objection, we will now begin the public comment portion of our meeting. Hearing no objection, we will now proceed with public comment. Individuals who have signed up and indicated they would like to provide in-person public commentary to the commission will now be allowed to do so. Please step to the nearest microphone when I call your number. You will have 2 minutes to address the commission. And please conclude your remarks when you hear the timer. If you feel that you had more to say, or even if you've already commented and you want to give us a further picture of what you've shared with us, please do go to our public comment tool and share your comments in writing, including any specific area of the map about which you're speaking. The public comment tool is at michigan.gov/MICRC. First in line to provide public comment is number 1. And you can step to the microphone when you're ready. And your 2 minutes doesn't start until you start talking. This is not the judge and the jury. We're here to share this evening.
Okay, do I need a name and address?
I would love to know your name. You can just give your name, not your address.
Okay, I'm Pauline Buckner, and I'm from the Sunrise side of the state, Alpena. Our area, first of all, I was asked to come and share mainly communities of interest with you from our area. Our area for the U.S. Congress, U.S. Representative is District Number 1. It includes the entire Upper Peninsula and then drops down fair distance into the Lower Peninsula. We feel that community of interest probably will remain the same because of the sparse population in the UP. The State House, Michigan Representative, ours is District Number 106. And that district is fairly compact. And we felt that the community of interest there is quite good because it's all waterfront. The main interest, or some of the main interests, are clean water, clean air, environmental issues, tourist and recreation. This district, from our point of view, is suggested to stay as is. The State Senate is District Number 36. This district, we feel, was gerrymandered after the last census. And our area people feel that they do not have a community of interest in common with Gladwin and Midland. They feel that there would be more interest if our district for State Senate could instead go west, including maybe Crawford, Ogama, Roscommon, Kalkaska, and Misaki. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pauline, for addressing the
Do you
commission.
want this?
What is it, the map?
Just the maps.
If you want to give that to us, you can. Thank you so much. Number 2, and as you see the person before you, assuming that they have a number and you can see the number that they're going back to their seat, feel free to come up. You can as well take your mask off as you're comfortable while you're speaking. Good evening. Thank you for coming to address the commission.
Thank you. I'm Vicki Bush. I'm from Traverse City, Michigan. First, I'd like to thank the commission for your hours and hours and lots of time as the process of democracy grinds ever so slowly as it's designed to do. You know you have an important task, and I'm hoping, I'm a political science major, I'm hoping that you're successful enough that as Michigan serves as one of the 50 laboratories for democracy, that other states will glom on to what you're doing. I'm here really to talk about the younger generations. I taught mainly American government for 33 years at the high school level, and I watched younger generations become disengaged, alienated, because they're young, they don't have a life experience, they don't have a lot of money, they don't have a lot of political capital. But what they did have, they thought, was a vote. One person, one vote. And then they look at the congressional districts and the state and Senate House districts or Michigan districts, and see that some of votes are enhanced and others are diluted by the way the districts are drawn. And there's another nail in the coffin for trying to engage these kids. And of course, the future of democracy depends on engagement. And they have a choice. They can either become engaged or they can become alienated. And we've seen what alienation can lead to in the last few years, especially January 6th. So if they're alienated, they're vulnerable to extremists, and they can be led to believe that violence is their only way to be heard. So please, I implore you, come up with a good product. It's necessary for engagement, for our democracy to function. There's more at stake than most people realize because future generations have to be engaged if we're going to continue to be a viable democracy. Please restore fairness to the system. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vicki. We'll now hear from number 3.
Hi, I'm Dave Fashbaugh. I'm from Grand Traverse County as well. I've known Vicki for pretty near 50 years. I think Grand Traverse County would be better served if Traverse City was attached to Leelanau County. Predominantly, the rest of the county would be also better served if it was attached to Wexford, Kalkaska, Missaukee counties. The demographics of the politics of those areas outside of Traverse City, they're more like those other counties. The Leelanau County is similar to Traverse City in their political views and backgrounds and whatnot. I've lived in the county my whole life, and I've experienced the differences in the county over the last 56 years. And that's about it.
Thank you so much, Dave. Number 4, good evening. Thank you for coming to address the commission.
My name's Tom Stillings. I'm from Torch Lake Township, Antrim County, 1st District, 105th State Rep District, and more importantly for tonight's discussion, 37th Senate District. And I guess I thought my ideas were original, but in concert with some of the earlier people. I want to talk about the difference between urban and rural trains of thought, commonality of interest, and I guess my community of interest is the rural citizen. In the 37th Senate District, it's largely rural geographically, but we've got this political powerhouse in Grand Traverse County, which is kind of this little appendage attached to the bottom of the district. And as was earlier mentioned, there's more commonality there with places like Cadillac or maybe Ludington or whatever that have a little more of an urban perspective. And I know we're not Detroit or Grand Rapids, but it's more of an urban perspective or outlook. And the rest of the district, our State House district is fine. It's very much in line with each other. But the rural part of our Senate district gets overshadowed by the political power of Grand Traverse County, metropolitan Traverse City, if you will. Looking at the map, geographically, it makes a little bit more sense if Traverse City were attached to the 36th. And maybe we brought a little bit of the eastern part of the state into the 37th. More of the rural areas, it'll give us more square miles, but it'll give us this commonality of interest. So in drawing your lines, if you could keep this particular concept in mind, I think it would serve the people of the state much better than what we have right now. And that's about it. Please consider it. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 5.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for your hard work. Don LaForest, Gaylord. I live in Gaylord.
I'd like the commission to consider throwing out completely the current maps, start from scratch, draw fair and competitive districts so that the voices of all citizens can be heard. There's too many districts that are tilted left or right. There's no reason to compromise. Just do what your party wants you to do and you're back in office, and all the citizens' voices and concerns aren't heard. So please take that into consideration when you redistrict the state. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. 6.
My name is Amy Carell. Is it possible to give my 2 minutes to my husband so that he has 4?
No.
Okay. All right. I don't know your rules.
No. You're totally fine.
I know. It sounds like I don't have an opinion, right?
Seems reasonable to me. You yield your time, they do it in Congress all the time.
Yeah, I would like to yield my time to him. Is it possible? Can you take a vote on that?
No, it's,
Okay. Well, I say birds of a feather flock together.
can you please, can we please reset her timer to 2 minutes?
Yep.
And that's why I think you should be careful of how you redistrict. Because birds of a feather flock together. People who like to live in the cities, live in the cities. People who like to live rural, live in the rural. They have different ways of living. They have different ideas. I think you need to consider that. I don't mind being 3 feet from my next door neighbor, but people in the country want to be 20 miles apart. So when they elect somebody, they want to elect someone who will represent them. I hope that you really consider those things. Some of them, the preliminary maps I saw, put big long lines through the middle and ballooned it out at the side. That doesn't make any sense to me. You have to find where people live together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amy. 7.
I'm Larry Carell, also here from here in Gaylord. Having been part of the redistricting at a lower level, but within the county and the county districts and all that stuff, it's not an easy task. And I would like to challenge you to make very sure that you do as good a job as you can, because our elective process has taken a real hit in terms of confidence in this country. And both sides of the aisle are discussing that, and they keep pointing at the other side and saying, well, it's your fault. But the net effect is the American people have taken a real hit in their confidence in their voting process. It starts with districts. It starts with looking at who your neighbors are. I saw one of your criterias was compactness. Some of the districts you have now are anything but compact. They're strung out like, they look like a plate of spaghetti more than being something compact. So I challenge you to do your very, very best, and then go a little bit farther and then swallow your pride and do the right thing. Thank you. Don't misread that swallow your pride. Be willing to do the right thing regardless of who gets the credit, is my point. Thank you.
Thank you. Your comments are appreciated. 8.
I am Cynthia Curtis from Sheboygan.
Hi, Cynthia.
Let me see, up here. And I live in the city of Sheboygan, the county of Sheboygan. And I'm so glad that you folks agreed to have this hearing rather than, so I only had to drive an hour, 50 miles instead of almost 200 to Marquette. So for the first district, it's a big district. My particular interests are because it's such a big district, we have to drive a lot of miles to get the things that we need. So my main interests as a retiree are friends, church, good health, organic gardening, and supplements. So most of these needs are satisfied either right in the city of Sheboygan, in the surrounding county of Sheboygan, here, or over in Petoskey and Emmett County. But I have connections and support services and events in this whole tip of the Lower Peninsula and occasionally across the bridge. As far as redistricting goals, keeping them compact, respecting county lines seems the most efficient, but particularly for the first district, have mercy on the poor person who is representing that district. It is about half the territory of Michigan. So make it as compact as possible and not strung out any place. And again, thank you so much for your work.
Thank you. 9.
Hello, first I'd like to thank the commission for making the trip up here to the North Country and giving us this opportunity to speak. My name is Kathy Stone. I reside in Inverness Township in the county of Sheboygan. It's one of 32 counties in the first district. That's a pretty big area. And you've got a challenge to come up with the additional people to expand the district. And the only thing I ask is, please look at the districts and realize the hours that it takes a congressperson to travel, the district, and keep it as compact as possible. The county of Sheboygan is fairly unique in most of the northern counties in that we have 2 Michigan House districts. And 10 years ago, when they divided the lines, I was not very happy about this. And I thought, they're dividing us up and everything. But in the past 10 years, I've realized this really does give us more of a voice in Lansing because we do have 2 representatives. And so I kind of encourage you to keep that division, which 10 years ago I would not have. What's our economic interest is tourism. There's no doubt about that with Mackinac Island, our ties to Mackinac City and St. Ignace across the bridge. Also, we have a 40-mile inland waterway that connects from Emmett County to Lake Huron. And I'd like you to take into consideration how this boating tourism affects our area as well as the regular, and keep the townships of Inverness, Mullet, and Tuscarora in with the 107 area. Thank you again for coming up. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Ten.
Good evening, members of the Redistricting Commission. Thank you for holding this hearing in Northern Michigan. My name is Tristan Cole and I live in Antrim County. This is a great place to live, work, play, and raise a family. My wife and I have raised our 3 daughters here and taken full advantage of the sense of community and the continuity of the recreation resources across our rural counties. We have multiple watersheds and waterways that traverse multiple counties, such as the Jordan River, which is in both Antrim and Charlevoix counties. And of course, our very own chain of lakes, Torch Lake, which is in the middle, and that includes the counties of Charlevoix, Antrim, Kalkaska, and Grand Traverse. We have vast tracts of state land that include the counties of Antrim, Charlevoix, Emmett, Sheboygan, Otsego, Mount Morency, and Oscoda. It's not unusual to travel 3 or 4 miles or even 5 or 6 to find just basic things around your home. It's not unusual to travel 3 or 4, or even 5 or 6 counties during turkey hunting or trout fishing in any given day. We also have a vast motorized trail system, both here in the Northern Lower Peninsula and across the Upper Peninsula. This system includes almost every county from the Knuckles north on your built-in map. This includes both wheeled, motorized, and tracked snowmobiles. We also have a robust and vibrant non-motorized trail system connecting many communities. These connected systems also include our island communities of Beaver Island and of course, Mackinac and Drummond. I personally hunt and fish in the counties of Charlevoix, Antrim, Otsego, and Mount Morency on a very regular basis as they are all so connected. Many of our small towns, townships, and even counties coordinate services. They time fairs, festivals, and community events so that the same people can enjoy everything. We have organized events through multiple counties all year long, and I often see and sit with the same people at our 4-H livestock auctions all over northern Michigan. As you make decisions, I implore you to be cognizant of how tied together agriculture, outdoor recreation, small businesses, 4-H programming, and church activities are across Michigan. Our lakes, rivers, trails, and public lands are critical aspects of connected communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tristan. 11.
I just want to say thank you so very much for your time. I'm very grateful. My name is Stacy Cole, and I'm a resident of Antrim County. My husband and I have 3 daughters that have been born and raised in Antrim County. Our daily lives in rural northern Michigan includes activities surrounding counties of Antrim, Otsego, Charlevoix, Emmett, and Grand Traverse. These counties are important to me because they are the center of activities where we live. Everything from recreation to shopping, to hospital visits and hair appointments. My daughters and I have many friends and family members in these counties throughout the entire tip of the Met region, and we have so much in common. We meet friends for coffee in Gaylord, shopping in Traverse City. We dine in Walloon Lake, Petoskey, and Charlevoix. It is not unusual to refer to people living miles away as our neighbors. We search and collect Petoskey stones from Traverse City to Harbor Springs. This area includes the counties of Grand Traverse, Antrim, Charlevoix, and Emmett counties. We look forward to our festivals and farm markets in our communities. These include the Mushroom Festival in Boyne City, Harbor Days in Elk Rapids, Alpenfest in Gaylord, and of course, National Cherry Festival in Traverse City. These activities include the counties of Charlevoix, Antrim, Otsego, and Grand Traverse. We also frequent Bill's Farmers Market in Petoskey, which is in Emmett County. Our daughters and their friends always enjoy a day trip to Mackinac Bridge, whether it is for our annual bridge walk, viewing the blue ice, a visit for the fort, or just hanging out. It's not unusual for us to then jump in the car, jump in a boat, go to Mackinac Island, or jump in the car and go to Whitefish Point to look for agates or pick huckleberries. Please remember, as you create districts and draw lines, we may travel over an hour in one direction for basic essentials. We often refer to whole counties as a tight-knit community. Thank you for your time.
Stacy, thank you so much for coming out to speak with us. Can we hear from 12?
Hello, my name is Lori White, and I would like to thank all of the commissioners for their time and consideration in Michigan's redistricting process. My communities of interest is Grand Traverse County. This is where I was born, raised, and where I live, have a family and a home. All of the neighboring and adjacent counties are also where I live and spend time. And they are counties that have 2 things in common: beautiful nature and tourism. These 2 things work hand in hand. The Michigan Lake shoreline and abundance of inland lakes makes this part of Michigan a popular vacation destination. In the summer, there's hiking, biking, kayaking, fishing, and golf. In the winter, there's skiing, snowshoeing, snowmobiling, etc., which in turn, it drives these counties' economies. It is, with all of its parts, a well-working machine. Please keep this in mind when redistricting. the parts of the northwestern portion of the mitten work best when they are all together. I thank you once again for your time.
Thank you so much. 13, and as 13, you're making your way up to the mic, you're already there, but I'm gonna say it quickly. I'd like to just remind you all that you can go to the public comment tool and share your comments in writing, including any area that you might be speaking specifically about this evening. Remember that we're sharing in your community and we're not from the community, so being as specific and intentional as you can be on the public comment tool is helpful for us. The public comment tool is at michigan.gov/MICRC. And now you have the floor. Please introduce yourself and thank you for speaking to the commission.
Phil Putton, Cadillac, Michigan, Wexford County. Thank you for holding this public hearing and your service on the Redistricting Committee. I've spent most of my life living, working, and raising our family, 4 children in Cadillac. Our family business, Western Concrete Products, began in Cadillac and spread to 5 other northern Michigan counties in our 60 years of operation. I'm involved in the Cadillac Area Chamber of Commerce Ambassadors Club, represent St. Anne's Catholic Church at the Cadillac Area Ministerial Association. I volunteer at Munson Hospital in Cadillac. In 2010, I was elected as state representative for the 102nd District and served until 2017. That's 3 counties, Wexford, Osceola, and Mecosta, with part of Osceola being taken away from me the last time things were adjusted. In rural northern Michigan, teamwork is important. But the one thing we have to remember is that we've got to continue to positively cooperate, because it's that positive cooperation that makes things work, no matter what we do and where we live. And this works too with our police, our fire, EMTs, hospital, our local school districts, including the intermediate and career tech centers that bring us together. Farm Bureau and 4-H also helps do this. Our businesses, whether they're manufacturing, retail, wholesale, plus all the family services, combine their energies and products to serve our community inhabitants. Because most of these community efforts are based on current congressional districts in northern rural Michigan, it's really imperative that we keep these districts compact and rural. And if we're going to go urban, but keep those together too, again, compact, as others have already said. Otherwise, costs will raise, voters will become confused. When they're confused, they're frustrated. When they're frustrated, they abstain from voting. So please elect officials who are really, some of the elected officials are really challenged, whether they're in city, township, or county clerks, who I've heard from all of mine, and they are really concerned about trying to comply with the new state and federal laws. I really personally appreciate this opportunity to share my thoughts with you, and thank you very much for the great service you're doing in the state of Michigan.
We appreciate you and thank you for your insights about cooperation and teamwork. At this time, you're already at the mic. So after, no. I'm gonna let you go ahead. After we hear from 14, and we want to hear from 14, we're gonna take a 10-minute recess, but 14, please continue. You have the floor.
My name is Vicki Rigney, and I really want to thank you all for being here, for paying attention to what's going on in this part of the state. It's very important, of course, to all of us. The redistricting committee is a place where the lines are drawn, and they should be drawn fairly, and they should reflect the interest of the people and not political parties. Voters should choose who represents them. In Michigan, the congressional Senate, its state and House districts have been gerrymandered for many years. And our ultimate goal should be in this districting to have a healthy democracy. And this is the reason for all of us to work together. And that's why I really appreciate that you all with varied lives, come from varied parts of life, have come here to listen to what we have to say, because I think it's very important that you hear from this part of our state. Thank you.
Vicki, thank you. So at this time, it's 7:06. We'll be taking a 10-minute recess and returning at, well, now it's 7:07. So I will, we'll meet up again at 7:17.
Madam Chairperson,
Yes.
I don't believe our commissioners joining virtually heard your call for roll. So would you like to repeat that?
Sure. Commissioners that are here with us virtually and in spirit, we are presently doing a roll call and we're back from recess officially. And we didn't know if you could hear us, but Doug Clark, you were called first. So just making sure that everyone in our virtual world can hear that we're preparing to call roll call.
I'm present.
Okay.
And commissioners joining virtually, if you could please state that you are joining remotely. And unless your absence is due to military duty, please announce your physical location by stating the county, city, township, or village and the state from which you are attending the meeting remotely. Doug Clark.
I'm present and I'm attending the meeting remotely from Rochester Hills, Michigan.
Juanita Curry. Anthony Eade.
Present.
Brittany Kellum.
Present.
Rhonda Lang.
Present, attending remotely from Reed City, Michigan.
Steve Lett.
Present.
Cynthia Orton.
Present.
MC Rothhorn.
Present and eating chocolate.
Rebecca Zatella.
Present, attending remotely from Wayne County, Michigan.
Janice Follett.
Present.
Aaron Wagner.
Present, attending remotely from Charlotte, Michigan.
Richard Weiss.
Present.
Dustin Witches.
Present.
There are 12 commissioners present and there is a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, we will return to our in-person public comment. When you hear your number called, you are going to step to the nearest microphone. In this case at Treetops, we have one front and center in front of the commissioners, and you'll have 2 minutes to address the commission. When you hear the timer, and you'll hear it from the rear of the room this time, when you hear the timer, know that your 2 minutes has ended and you'll conclude your remarks. This doesn't mean that you continue much past hearing. We're operating on a currency. We don't want to cut anyone off, but when you hear the timer, please do be mindful that you should finish up your sentence. We also have a large timer that's on display. By my count on this side, I don't know if it's going to be over there as well, but the timer shows up here. So please be mindful of your time, and please go to the public comment tool and share your comments in writing, including any specific area of the map about which you're speaking. Remember, you are educating us and making us aware of your community. So we really do appreciate details. The comment tool is at michigan.gov/MICRC. Without further ado, number 15, we're ready to hear from you. Please just don't let me call you a number. You better get up here and give me your first and last name so you're not just a number, because you're more than that.
My name is Joanne Cromley. I am from Sheboygan County. Sheboygan County is gerrymandered, and because of this, a large portion of our county is not fairly or accurately represented. Time and time again, the people of Sheboygan County have asked our 2 Republican House representatives and our Republican senator to represent us, to really listen and hear our concerns and to take action on those concerns. But every time we were denied equal and fair representation, and it continues to this day. Sheboygan County is a community of interest based on much of our county is based on our economy is based on tourism, the environment, fishing, and shipping on the Straits of Mackinac. We are the home port of the Coast Guard cutter Mackinac, and we are currently dealing with the clear and present danger of Line 5 Enbridge dual pipeline. Our country was founded on the principle that voters should choose who represents them to make laws, or more simply, voters should choose their politicians, not the other way around. Please correct this injustice. Thank you.
Thank you so much. 16.
My name is Debbie Pond. I live in Sheboygan. I'm here to talk about my community of interest, Sheboygan County. Thank you, commissioners, for the challenging and much appreciated work that you're doing to assure that Michigan voters will have fair districts that provide political parties and equal opportunity and keep communities of interest together.
Currently, the 106th and 107th House districts zigzag through our county, dividing our townships and school district, which leads to a lot of confusion and one district that sort of makes sense and one that does not at all. Because there are no hospitals, major industries, or big box stores besides Walmart in our county, most of us are regularly tied to Emmett, Grand Traverse, and Otsego County in one way or another. Sheboygan County is also directly dependent upon the tourism of these counties for our own tourism, which is a major source of employment. The Straits of Mackinac is one of Michigan's most popular tourist areas. While many may think of the Straits as simply the area directly under the bridge, it encompasses many, many miles of shoreline in Sheboygan, Emmett, and Mackinac counties. As you may know, the Line 5 pipeline has been carrying oil and natural gas under the Straits for 67 years. Regardless of personal feelings or for or against the pipeline, any action regarding the pipeline will have a direct effect on the people of Sheboygan County for decades to come. I am an avid watcher of the commission meetings, and I remember an expert stating that communities of interest should reflect where people live, work, and play. We deserve to have a say in what happens to our waters, our tourism, our jobs, our healthcare, our environment, and our local economy, which means that Sheboygan County belongs in Senate and House districts with Emmett County and Mackinac County as part of the Straits of Mackinac. Thank you. Thank you so much. And 17.
Hi, my name is Barb Knight. I'm from Presque. It's the only county with no stoplights. And we love it that way. We're agricultural. We have a pocket of a Polish community in Posen. We have a pocket of German Americans in Roger City. We love our area. It's quiet, it's nature. If you hunt, come on. If you fish, come on. I happen to live on the big lake, and I just watch birds. I got a great library in Onaway. It's a wonderful place to live. I would like to see it stay that way. I'm in the 106th. I like the 106th. When it's time to go have fun, that's when you go to Petoskey. That's when you go to Alpena. That's when you go to Traverse City for the day. So your job is cut out for you. Good luck. Thank you for serving. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for taking time to address the commission. 18.
Good evening. My governmental name is Marie Fielder. My Native American name is Wabanokwe, and I am a proud member of the Sault Ste. Marie tribe of Chippewa Indians. For the purpose of transparency, I am also the volunteer chairperson for the Alpena County Democratic Party. I reside in Alpena, Michigan. I am not here, however, as chairperson, nor am I here as just a Democrat. I am here because I am a lifelong citizen and Native American Indian of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and I feel unfairly represented in Michigan due to the fact that for over 3 decades, our state has been gerrymandered to the point of silliness. Make no mistake, voters have not been able to choose their representatives. The party on the right has ensured that. Gerrymandering has not only pushed Michiganders to the point of unfair representation, but it has pushed voter apathy. This is not healthy for anyone in Michigan. I am imploring you to ignore any rhetoric from others and do the job that you have been entrusted with as you begin to draw district lines. Please remember, districts shall be of equal population and shall comply with the Voting Rights Act and all federal laws. Districts shall be geographically contiguous. Districts shall reflect the state's diverse population and communities of interest. And remember that communities of interest do not include relationships with political parties, incumbents, or political candidates. Above all, you must remember the critical language. Districts shall not provide a disproportionate advantage to any political party. Thank you so much for the challenges that you are facing and for your commitment to provide a more fair map for all Michiganders. You are indeed history in the making. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your heritage and your sentiments. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Arlen Briley. I live right here in Otsego County. I'm very happy for our representative districts to now be drawn by an independent commission. I thank you on the commission for coming to my part of the state, and I'm very thankful for this opportunity to address the Citizens Redistricting Commission with my concerns. I like to think of myself as a mature and balanced person, so I don't expect that every election will go my way. I'm politically moderate, leaning Democratic, and I accept that I'm living among a lot of very conservative fellow citizens. So I'm never surprised when I get outvoted. That's just the way it is based on where I've chosen to live, and I accept it. But here's what's not acceptable to me. To learn that in election after election here in Michigan, more votes are cast for Democrats than Republicans, but Republicans end up controlling the legislature and the congressional delegation. I have to ask myself why and what can be done to make the situation more fair. And I'm convinced that the answer is in part the way that the district boundaries are drawn. If people of similar political persuasion have the opportunity to vote together, then their political outlook will ultimately be reflected in the balance of power in our representative government. But the districts can be drawn in a way that divides people of a certain political persuasion among many districts, and thus preordains that the elected representatives from those districts will represent the opposite of my political persuasion in my case. I accept that I'll be outvoted locally, but you have the power to choose from different sets of maps. And I urge you to vote to select a set of maps that's representative of the overall political balance in Michigan. It's my understanding that the commission will have access to data that reflects the political persuasion of the voters. I don't selfishly ask that the commission draw a map that necessarily puts me in a district with a majority of similarly aligned voters. Instead, I ask that the overall set of maps from Michigan indicate that the legislative delegation will roughly reflect the overall political persuasion of the whole state. In short, I expect that the commission will consider political party affiliation data using accepted measures of partisan fairness, such as the efficiency gap that was considered by the U.S. Supreme Court recently, to ensure a fair opportunity to elect members of the state legislature and the Congress to reflect the voters of our state. Thank you very much.
Arlen, thank you so much for sharing with the commission. 20.
Hello, my name is Roxanne Moore and I'm from Gaylord. I've lived here 30 years. The previous 30 years, I was downstate. It's a totally different world up here. And downstate, you have TV channels, 3, 6, 9, 20, whatever. Up here, we have 29 and 8, 9 and 10, and 7 and 4. We have downstate, you have a school district. Here we have Charm, which is 2 counties, Charlevoix and Emmett. Mecosta and Osceola share a 911 dispatch called Misiola. Traverse City and Leelanau share a transportation system, among a number of other things. They're also our only real urban area. They're very tied together. As other people have said, there are ties all over. Downstate, you say, oh, Ann Arbor is 100 miles away. Up here, Traverse City is an hour and a half away. Petoskey's 45 minutes away. Downstate, oh, they're rural. We are. We're all rural. That doesn't mean it's all the same kind of rural. Along the coastline, along the west, you have the fruit farmers and the wineries. In Otsego County and to the east, you have potato farmers. Yes, they're farmers, but it's a totally different ecology. It's a totally different farming mindset. And I think it's important, we don't have the ethnic differences you do downstate, but we do have special interests that do clump together. And it isn't just whether you're a hunter or a fisherman. or tourism is important. It's important all over northern Michigan. But there are other things that need to be taken into consideration to keep those communities of interest together. Thank you for the job you're doing. You have your work cut out for you.
Thank you so much. And I think that's a good, this is a good time to also again remind you all of the public comment tool and how you are always welcome and the opportunities available to you to share your comments in writing, including any specific area of your town, your community that you're speaking of this evening. And again, our public comment tool is at michigan.gov/MICRC. And you must be, or you're not 21, you're going to tell us your name, but you're more than a number.
22.
You're 22.
No, I'm kidding. I'm 21.
Okay, I was going to say.
Wake up, everybody.
Well,
Long
good
night for you guys.
evening.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Tozer.
Hi, Jennifer.
I live in 2 counties south of here. Technically, I pay my taxes in Crawford County. However, my kids go to school in Roscommon. Our business is Roscommon. If I cross the street, I'm in Roscommon. So I just would like to ask, when you're just like sitting down and making your lines and deciding your districts, to keep in mind those counties that share things like school districts. We have one main road besides the interstate that goes right up Roscommon. As soon as it gets to Crawford County, it veers west and it separates the counties. So using main roads may not be the best option when you're thinking of where to separate a district from, because a lot of counties not only share, like you said, resources and districts, but everything. So even though I'm in 2 different counties, it's like living in one. So I'm just asking to be conscious of major roads and counties that share common municipalities and districts. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, 22, the real 22.
Hi, my name is Darren Rubing, and I am a dairy farmer from Banks Township in Antrim County. I would like to thank you for making the effort to hold these public input meetings at different locations in the state. I just finished milking the cows and had a 50-minute drive to this location. Having these meetings spread out enables me to give my perspective, so thank you. Rural northern Michigan is my community of interest, especially Charlevoix, Emmett, and Antrim counties. I have lived here all my life. I am on the board for our local county farm bureau. At our Antrim County Farm Bureau meetings, local farmers get together to discuss how we can benefit agriculture in Antrim County and northern Michigan. By working on such issues such as property rights, taxes, environmental quality, and others. There are similar county farm bureau chapters in almost every county of Michigan. Farmers in Antrim County and northern Michigan share many of the same values, and I ask that you keep rural counties across the state and in Antrim County together so we can continue to work on these issues that affect us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come and speak with us. 23.
Yes, my name is James Gallant with the Marquette County Suicide Prevention Coalition, and my community of interest is the entire state of Michigan, and I'm concerned about the processes and the rules of procedure and all of that. And I assure you that the trust of the community will come when you start to begin to follow the rules. The rules are not being followed here, in my personal opinion. Based on the fact, and I believe that the rules of procedure of this commission have been gerrymandered, willfully gerrymandered by the Michigan Secretary of State office or department, Michigan State University, University of Michigan, and the Princeton Gerrymandering Project, because they provided you with draft rules of procedure, and then you approved it. But you didn't approve the actual rule book. They didn't even give you the rule book. They said, here, use these cheat sheet for nonprofits. This is run like a nonprofit corporation. You're running it like a nonprofit. And this is my point, is right here. Point of order, Madam Chair, because you clearly stated to the community that you're confused. And I believe you're still confused about the rules because nobody explained it to you and nobody helped you. So, point of order, lay on the table, motion to lay on the table. It says here, the motion to lay on the table enables an assembly to lay the pending question aside temporarily while something else is immediately urgency arises and when something else needs to be addressed before consideration of the pending question. Okay, and then it says, this motion is commonly misused in ordinary assemblies and is placed of the motion to postpone. That's what you should have done. Motion to postpone to the next meeting, not lay on the table. It says here, such action to the robot violates the rights of the minority and individual members if it is not for the purpose other than one stated in the first sentence. In ordinary assemblies, the motion to lay on the table is out of order. If it is evident, it is to kill a dealing measure. And if a time for resuming consideration is specified in making the motion, it can be admitted only as a motion to postpone.
James,
You're
your 2
clearly
minutes is
not
up
following the rules.
by our
I would ask
rules.
For a,
Your 2
I would
minutes is
ask for a
up.
bylaws committee of the whole so that you can then address these issues.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you very
addressing the
much.
commission. Thank you for
Yes,
keeping us
thank
on
you
our
very- thank you-
toes.
thank
We
you very much.
appreciate you.
Thank you. I don't know what this guy's doing, but thank you very much.
24.
Greeting members of the commission. My name is Randy Osgood. I'm from Elmira Township here in Otsego County, 2 stone throws from Antrim County. So I'm here not to try and define a specific community of interest, but my concern is what happens with the communities of interest after the process is complete. Now, I understand that they are, put together and compiled and then given to a computer program to draw the actual boundaries. And that computer program is owned by a political consulting firm. I just hope that you will make sure that the impartiality is maintained by the use of that program and that possibly something else might be employed to do that same job. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Randy. 25.
Hi, I'm William Arnold. I'm gonna keep this quick. There's been so many people that have already said. What I would like to say is just that our trust is shaken and we're really hoping that you can restore it and keep the districts or make the districts fair as possible. And that's really it. You guys have a tough job, so thank you for giving us a chance to talk.
Thank you for coming out and thank you for understanding. 26. Don't be shy. Okay, and 27.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Jacobson and I'm from right here in Gaylord, and you all lucked out because I think like last week it was 40 degrees here and snowing. So welcome to beautiful sunny Northern Michigan this week. Thank you for your time. I didn't vote for this ballot proposal. I tend to disagree with the whole mob rule sort of thing, but we got it. And I thank you for doing this job. I certainly wouldn't want it. I didn't really have a lot to say. I was just here learning, but a couple of people made points that I just wanted to, I thought were at least my feelings as well. The lady over here, I think you were 20, and the first lady. There is a big difference between the urban up here and the rural. And I do really feel that that difference isn't well represented in both of our state Senate districts. I've tried to think I've lived in both of them over the past 5 years, and I try to think of how many times I've actually seen those senators, and it's like never. So I do kind of feel like they are gravitating towards the cities, and the farms are different there. The community is different there. And I don't know if anything can be done about that, but I'd appreciate you looking into it. I also think people made excellent points about how we in the rural area share different things the government wants to do for us. So I appreciate your time and good luck to you, and thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. If 26 is still not here, 27 made our 27, yes. But if 26 you're not here, it doesn't seem like you're here at all. 27 made our last public comment for in person, and at this time we'll be moving to virtual, but I think I'm getting a note. Oh, okay. Thank you. So we encourage you all to hang in there with us and stay for our remote public comment and still learn and listen. If you can't, you can't, totally understandable. Individuals who have signed up and indicated that they would like to provide live remote public commentary to the commission will now be allowed to do so. I will call your first and last name to the best of my ability. Please do feel free to correct me if I mispronounce your name, because names are important. If you are on a computer, you will be prompted by the Zoom app to unmute your microphone and speak. If you're on the phone, a voice will say that the host would like to speak and prompt you to press *6 to unmute. I will call on you by your name. And also please note that if you experience technical or audio issues where we do not hear from you for 3 to 5 seconds, we will move on to the next person in line and then return to you after they are done speaking. If your audio still does not work, you can email redistricting@michigan.gov and we will help you troubleshoot so you can participate during the next public comment period at a later hearing or meeting. First in line to provide public comment is Gerald Schatz. Allow a couple of minutes for our staff to unmute you, please, Gerald. And when you see that you're...
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Gerald Schatz. I live in the village of Northport. I am not a snowbird. And I thank you very much for volunteering for a very tough job, because fitting disparate populations and geographies into those criteria for decision is a tough call. And it requires a great deal of care and empathy for people who live in different situations. I want to point out that the 4th and 5th criteria, fairness, are not mutually exclusive, nor are any of the decision criteria mutually exclusive. That in mind, I suggest a way to think about what we all share. And this is my shared interest. I share it, I think, with most of the people in Michigan. No district shape or boundaries should enable anyone to confidently predict the election outcome in that district. And following from that, the totality of apportionments in our congressional and state legislative districts should not enable anyone to confidently predict election outcomes statewide. To think otherwise is to encourage cynicism by our elected officials and by our electorate. And I think we've had enough cynicism, and I think you would agree, as would the people who spoke here earlier tonight, that what we all seek is fairness. That's hard to achieve, but we don't want elections as a done deal in advance. We need people to engage. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gerald, for sharing your comments with the commission this evening. We have 2 more public comments, but before we do so, we'll just give you all and ourselves a 5-minute break. Yeah, I thought you were telling me something else. It wasn't a secret. I was asking if they wanted a break for 5 minutes. You need a break? Nope. Okay, we're gonna keep going. All right, yay, good. We're a happy group. Our second virtual public comment is Barbara Conley, and remembering that you are allowing a couple of moments for our staff to unmute you. Good evening, Barbara.
Hi. Thank you for taking my comments. I do live in Northport as well, which is in Leelanau County, Michigan. And I'd like to make 2 points. The first is just to entreat this committee to draw fair maps. In April of 2019, Michigan's first congressional district was deemed by a federal court to have been gerrymandered. And I do believe that voters need to pick their representatives and not the other way around. But second, I'd like to speak to the point of communities of interest. Leelanau County, where I live, does have ties to northern Grand Traverse County, and the citizens that live near Lake Michigan and Grand Traverse Bay might be considered a community of interest. The 2 counties until recently were responsible for the Cherry Capital Airport. Healthcare, particularly hospital and specialists, is largely available only in Traverse City. And in addition, the 2 counties share agricultural ties in cherry, wine, grapes, and other fruit growing, as well as the farm to table effort. They share an intermediate school district and, of course, tourism. These 2 contiguous counties might be considered together for Michigan House District. Leelanau County also shares a health department with Benzie County, as well as tourism, and shares cherry farming and tourism with Antrim, Charlevoix, and Emmett counties. And perhaps these near shore counties might be considered for a state Senate district. In summary, I ask for fair districts so that our representatives in Congress and state legislature reflect the will of the voters and no one feels their vote is wasted. And I ask the commission to draw districts that take into account how citizens relate to each other and not draw districts to favor any incumbents or specific political party. And to join lots of others, thank you so much to all of you for serving on this committee. Your service is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Barbara, thank you so much for taking time to address the commission. We appreciate your comments and thoughts. Our last virtual public comment is Robert Palarito. I apologize if I am mispronouncing your name. Please correct me and allow 2 minutes for our staff to unmute you.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Good evening.
Very good. I'd just like to thank you, commissioners, for serving on this commission. I'd like to say that our Northern Michigan District, Senate, House, and First Congressional need no changing. The First Congressional District is currently made up of the up north counties. It's 44% of Michigan, including 16 counties below the bridge and all of the Upper Peninsula. Its communities of interest include tourism, farming, and natural resources, which include oil and gas, timber, minerals such as iron ore and copper. This district is rural, and we often travel a county or 2 over to do our banking, to do our doctoring, to do our social activities. The 36th and 37th state Senate districts represent the tip of the mitt and part of the UP, the eastern end. Northern Michigan residents tend to do their major shopping, medical trips, attend community colleges based on geographical alignment in this area. Which side of I-75, east or west? If you live on the east side, you tend to head towards Alpena. If you live on the west side, you tend to head towards Traverse City or Petoskey, or in the UP up to the Sioux. This geographical realignment represents the 36th and 37th. The 105th House District is a community of interest due to several factors. These counties are made up of the northern snowbelt counties, receiving an abundance of white stuff in the winter. This lends this area to be perfect for winter recreational activities. Its snow and rolling terrain are home to many ski resorts. Snowmobiling is another major winter tourism windfall for the area, breathing economic life into an otherwise difficult time for business. In the summer, melting snow contributes to many lakes and streams, producing fishing and boating activities. The last major community of interest for the 105th House District is the abundance of gas, oil, and timber production. The Niagara Reef and Antrim Shale, among others, and the abundance of forested land provide the core of jobs in this area. Northern Michigan crude is put into Enbridge's Line 5 and sent to Detroit. I thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Robert, for taking time to address the commission. At this time, our public comment and in-person public comment and virtual public comment portion of our agenda has ended. A reminder to everyone listening and watching and here, thank you for addressing the commission. Please go to our public comment tool and share your comments in writing, including any specific area or community that you are making mentioning of or anything that you're silently thinking about. The tool, one last time, is located at michigan.gov/MICRC. We'll move on to our acknowledgements, and if there are no objections, we'll have our Executive Director, Sue Hammersmith, provide acknowledgements. Hearing no objection, please proceed, Executive Hammersmith.
Hi, I'd just like to thank the volunteers here this evening and all who provided public comment. Thank you so much for coming out. We really appreciate it. Remember, you can go to michigan.gov/MICRC to put that public comment on a map for us or in writing in the tool. And then we hope to see people at our future public hearings. They are all listed on the website. Next week, we'll be in Midland on Tuesday and in Lansing on Thursday. So if you have family or friends who live in those communities, we would hope you would encourage them to come out and give their comments about their communities also. Again, thank you so much for being here this evening.
Big thank you to our Executive Director, Sue Hammersmith, for the acknowledgements. At this time, we have no further agenda items and the commission has no further business. So a motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved.
Thank
Second.
you. And second by who? Dustin Widges. All in favor, please signify with a raised hand. All opposed? The meeting has been adjourned at 8:03. Thank you, everyone, for coming out and thank you for being patient.